Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Oh, you're kind of like Nurmagomedov, like nerd.
That's fine. Let's stick with that.
Yeah.
Writing coach?
Oh yeah. What's up with that?
Like, Dana's all like, bro, you got all the money in the world. You're writing coach.
That was kind of funny though.
And you ass don't want to move?
Yeah.
You're like, nah, fuck that. I ain't moving.
I don't know what the deal was with that. That sounds like I think a couple of those sides were wrong. I'm sure Khabib was having a hard time communicating to some degree or something like that. Like, I'm sure it wasn't just all the lady.
It's up to our discretion for anybody to sit in the extra row because we have to feel that you would be willing and able to. That's our discretion. And I understand that. But now that you're giving a back and forth, we don't feel comfortable with you sitting in the extra row. So you can either move.
She was talking really fast and he speaks a different language.
No, it's the way she asked it first, and it was more of a whole sentence instead of.
She was just saying something really
It
quick.
didn't sound like a question. We heard it.
Okay, so I understand that, guys, but unfortunately, it still is up to our discretion. So if she doesn't feel comfortable with you sitting in the extra row, and now you're giving me a hard time, I'm just trying to thank you and you're backing over me, so I'm going to have to address you. No, I'm just going to explain it to you, and you're talking over me. And I'm sorry, and it's just sad. I want you to be able to come with us. I just have to switch one in. Okay? I'm still giving you the seat with the same extended leg room. I just can't have him in the extra room. No, and that's totally fine. It's beyond that now. We're gonna.
You will not read documents, but just comply.
In the process of the flight, just listen.
No, guys, everybody is fine. So it's gonna be the same seat. It's not gonna be okay. We can't have you sit in the extra row. It's not about the language. It's not about the language. It's the fact that now you're giving me a hard time, so I don't feel comfortable with you sitting in the extra row when you're not complying.
So either he complies or he's going to get off.
Okay,
So, thank you.
no worries.
I don't feel comfortable with you too because I know the language and I know the
It's not about the
I know how to help people and now you guys because this woman don't understand us, don't understand what she's talking about.
Okay, so
What we're going to do is we're either going to have you switch your seat because my flight attendants are not allowing you to sit in the exit row, or you're going to have to get off this plane and then we'll have to leave because they're not comfortable with you sitting in the emergency exit row. My flight attendants. And unfortunately, it is fair.
It's not fair.
Yes, it is. 'Cause if
You guys, when I was making check-in, they asked me, do I know English? Yes, I said.
And they said yes, and I understand that, but it's also off of their judgment. I'm not going to do this back and forth. I will call a supervisor. You can either take a different seat, or we can go ahead and escort you off the plane. Which one are we doing? Okay, I'll call a supervisor, and then we're going to have to rebook you for a different flight. Josh, do you copy?
Correct.
I think they told him like, hey, if you're gonna sit in this seat, you have responsibilities.
Yeah.
And it sounded like he was like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Or it sounded like when they went up to him to confirm, he like ignored her for the first few asks. Something.
And you gotta have a little bit of it's funny, this is like ironic.
Yeah.
Me saying you gotta obey. Because anybody that knows me knows my ass would have been like, nah, fuck that. Nah, no.
But then you're gonna waste a few hours like reboarding.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but my ass is just, I don't like authority. I don't like listening to fucking rules and shit. So it's ironic me saying you should move.
Yeah. But I mean, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, you could have just moved, but then you kind of like, I don't know. Is that an L?
Is that a what?
Is that an L on camera? Because, you know, he might have been like, people are filming this shit. I'm just going to fucking like take it there.
He was being stubborn.
He was being stubborn.
Yeah, because he could have just been like, all right, I'll move. Fuck it.
Like, why not?
Yeah, I think what happens is you get in your mind, you're like, no, I don't want to move. I paid for a ticket. I'm not moving. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Get me to where I need to go. I'm sitting here.
Because, I don't know, if it was me, I would have definitely been like, all right, yeah, just give me another seat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fuck, I don't want to be in charge of everybody anyway. Like, find someone else to do it.
In hindsight, I would have
I would have been like, yeah, just find me another seat, then it's all good. Yeah. I don't even care that much.
I think it's the way she approached him that kind of pissed him off and, like, rubbed him the wrong way. And I think once he got rubbed the wrong way, he was like, man, fuck you, bitch.
Was he kind of like, listen, come get your guy. I ain't listening to you. Was that it? He ain't listening to her.
You know, when it's a funny story. The other day, and I respect all the male men out there and male women.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting my mail. Same story. I'm getting my, not the same story because we're not in the plane, but I'm getting my mail. And you know how sometimes they open up all the mailboxes?
Yeah.
And they tell you, no, you can't get your mail. You have to wait for them to complete everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck that. I'm grabbing my mail. I got shit to do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he got so pissed, bro. I was like, what are you going to do? You're going to call the cops? Am I going to jail for fucking picking up my fucking mail? I got mad. And you can just tell, bro, he was super pissed at me too. He was super pissed at me. And I told him, I saw him again afterwards. I was like, bro, you could have just asked for my ID if what your problem was is not knowing if that was me.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask for my ID. I'm going to get my own mail. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
But a little rude.
I got something to say about that. You might have been a little bit rude, but I can sense kind of what happened there, which is a little prickiness that might have came off of him. And let me just assume, right, you could tell me if I'm right or wrong, but what I notice when I kind of have encounters like that, the thing I don't appreciate is, like, I don't like when somebody's, like, working a job, so they use that as an excuse to maybe, like, not be kind of, like, friendly or, like, be a little rude.
And they want to push their power a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. Just because, like, you're the mailman, you're not going to treat me like a human. If we just walked by each other man to man, you wouldn't be talking to me the way you're talking to me. But because you work this job, because I've also had it in restaurants, where I've had, like, a rude server when somebody, not me or necessarily, but when somebody's asking for too much or, like, complaining, and a server is, like, kind of rude or, like, just kind of, like, talks in a tone. I don't know. I don't like that. It's like a tone.
Talking down on you.
Yeah, talking down.
And I think in this instance, when we compare it to Khabib, there were some people were saying there's a lot of racial undertones.
She kind of treated him like not a human, right? She's just talking at him, like, kind of like,
no, sir, you need to move.
Like, when I say not a human, I mean, like, I feel like what people do sometimes is to make their job easier, they just kind of become jaded and they treat everybody as if, like, they don't get credit. Like, they're all one level of shitty.
Respect. Yeah, no respect.
Like, I don't have to respect anyone because I've been burned once or twice, and now I'm jaded, you know?
Yeah. And in this situation, the racial undertone is, of course, magnified because he is Islamic, right?
Correct.
So, you know,
Muslim.
So if you were to take all those into the, you know, variables into the equation to see how she reacted and how she treated him and maybe what other people were thinking, you know, it's almost like a double-edged sword because there's Muslims are going to get a bad rap for a lot of things that have happened within the world when it comes to terrorism.
Mm-hmm.
In the way you do look. So you are being, in one aspect, racially profiled.
Right, because I think the lady said she wasn't comfortable, right? She, like, made a decision to kick him off.
But she didn't know that's Khabib, though.
I guess not.
Evidently.
Yeah.
She didn't know that he's a fucking GOAT in fucking the MMA world. Because if you looked at the Frontier Airlines comments, they're getting roasted.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you two things. The devil's advocate, if you will. Number one, because I think the only thing that you can really point at being racial was the saying, like, you know, the language barrier, right? I think there was something brought up about the language barrier that the lady had said, like, you didn't understand. We're trying to talk to you. You're not giving us responses, right? So number one, how do I put this? You think it had to do with, like, this profiled him based off, like, a language type thing, or, like, that's what people are assuming?
Because
even Khabib said, what was it? Racial, national?
I mean, if you were to take him in a lineup and not know who he was, you would think he's Muslim.
Right, and you think that he got profiled a little bit like that? Like, this guy's unresponsive. He looks like one of those Muslim terrorists. Can I just say that?
And you add the language. Then you find out, okay, he's not speaking. You could tell English not his first language, right?
So his language fits his look.
Right. So that's racially profiled to the T, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a police officer pulling me over and be like, "Oh, you're fucking we're gonna deport your ass."
So it escalates. If a white guy with a good English accent acted the same way as Khabib, which we don't know for sure, but let's just say he ignored her on the first 3 times of trying to confirm. I mean, to be honest, I might have been in an exit row before, and nobody ever physically. Let me say this, because I'm just coming to the top of my head. I might have been in an exit row before, and I don't believe anyone's ever come up to me and said, "Hey, are you okay with that?" I think on the speaker it says, it like gives you the rundown, like, you're next to here, you're in charge. If you don't like that, say something now. I think you have to physically say something. I don't think the flight attendant comes up and confirms it with you. Do they? I mean, I'm kind of guessing, but
I think I've been asked before, but I think maybe it'd been a hit and miss with me. I don't remember all the time.
So let's say it is protocol. Then let's err on the safe side. Say it's protocol to ask somebody. If it was a white guy who didn't respond to the flight attendant's first 2 or 3 asks, do you think she would kick him off the plane or try to move his seat? Because if it started with moving seats, so do you think she would try to move his seat? No.
I just don't.
Because if he said, "Oh, I just didn't hear you. Yeah, I'm down to sit here," she'd be like, "Okay, fine."
Let's see what he said here. First of all, I need to clarify that it was Fly, not Frontier, not Alaska. A lady who comes with me questioned was very rude from the very beginning, even though I speak very decent English and I can understand everything and agreed to assist. She still insisted on removing me from my seat. So right there, like, hey, you're already coming in hot. You're already coming in rude. Nah, bro. Like, what you just said, when people kind of push their power and kind of like talk down to you. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what I'm hearing.
That could have been when it came to him putting his bags away, or like, whatever the case. And then when he was entering the plane.
What was the base for that? Racial, national, or other? I'm not sure. But after 2 minutes of conversation, she called security, and I was departed from the aircraft. And it's almost like, hey, sir, if you're not going to listen to what I'm going to tell you, we're going to call security on you. So that's a power move. You know what I mean? And
you're kind of instigating it by talking down on him. Like, you're challenging him to disagree with you so that you can exercise your power.
And when you add all the, because there's a lot of people on the flip side. Let's say the Sean Stricklands of the world. Sean Strickland's been throwing a lot of hate towards people that are Muslim lately,
Yeah, I don't even pay attention to it.
I don't either, but there's a lot of people that think like that, though. And you can get bad with any racial. Like, there's bad Mexicans, right? There's bad white people. There's bad Muslims. There's bad British people. Any race, you're gonna have one or another.
Right.
But there was a little bit of a tone there, and that could have been handled in a way better situation. And I think it just goes to show you the temperament of our society.
Mm-hmm.
And the planes are weird. Planes are weird, right?
Planes are weird. You always have these moments on planes.
Because he really didn't do anything wrong. He argued a little bit.
Yeah, I guess, like, okay, to finalize that little thought, yeah, I mean, when he was just sitting there, and it basically came down to, like, okay, I didn't understand you. Whatever you're saying that, like, I didn't want to do or I wasn't complicit with, I'm down to do it. Can we please move on? And the lady took it upon herself to be like, no, we can't move on. In fact, like, we want to move your seat or it's done with. Again, escalating the situation. He kept saying, like, no, I'm fine. Like, I'm good to sit here, I promise. And that's, I think, one of the bigger things, too. Like, if he had said, like, no, and then refused to move seats, I could see an argument. But he was like, oh, I didn't understand you. I'm down. It's all good. Let's move on. And she took it upon herself to keep bitching. Yeah,
and let's think about this. Knowing who he is, one of the baddest men on the planet, like, he's a weapon, he really held his composure.
Yeah, that was good to see.
Yeah, he didn't.
I respected it.
He didn't get up and get her in her face. See, me, I may have clapped back. He still held his composure. He may have not done everything that she wanted, and she didn't kept escalating. But I give him credit. He got up. He walked off.
He didn't raise his voice whatsoever. No, I respected that.
But really, the clip was like, hey, he kind of argued back, but not raised his voice.
He was simply like, listen, like, I'm down to help out. What you're telling me now to do isn't right. So, like, whatever you have to do, because I'm not going to listen to you. Like, you seem to be, like, what's the word? She seemed to be kind of, like, on one, if you will. Yeah, she was on one. He's like, I'm not, it's over with. Like, just go get your guy. Like, you're on one. Like, let's move on. I said I'm down, but if you don't want that, then let's move on. Like, go get another guy.
Yeah, and it goes back to what you said, just being that jaded and just having no empathy anymore, and just.
I think a lot of people lose their empathy when they're working.
Yeah.
Like what happened when you're at the mailbox.
Yeah, it's because you deal with so many assholes that you get to that point where you just like it's just cut and dry.
You're like saving yourself, you know.
Yeah, this is how it is, sir.
Right.
Call security. Security, get him off.
But then you're gonna find the wrong guy, you know, who doesn't appreciate your fucking tone, and isn't just gonna let it slide.
Will Khabib be in the corner for Islam?
Yeah, he should be in the corner, right? Hey, okay, so I just want to.
I think Connor was in on it.
Oh, I know. That was funny as fuck. Connor with his fucking like Halloween costume.